Why relying on motivation alone will lead you to failure. This is Dr. Spencer Coaches. Today, I'm going to talk to you about the misunderstanding and misleading word motivation and why just relying on motivation will lead you to failure. Because motivation is often described as the reason or reasons that gives you purpose or reason to take certain action or behave a certain way. And what happens is the reason why I say that, if you have a goal in mind that takes, say, years to really fulfill, your motivation will wane. Anybody who has taken a long-term goal, such as earning a PhD degree, earning a doctorate degree, doing a 5-year project, even just a 6-month project, you're going to experience days where you just don't want to work. You don't want to put in the effort. You know, if you're on a weight loss journey, is a great example. How many of you have tried to lose weight over the course of, say, 3 to 6 months, and somewhere along the line, you just didn't want to go to the gym. You didn't want to stick to your diet. It happens to the best of us because motivation will wane. Motivation is often, well, let me put it this way. There are two kinds of motivation, intrinsic and extrinsic. Extrinsic, I believe, more people are familiar with, such as a financial reward. You know, people work harder at work. They're willing to put in more hours for a raise, for a higher paying position. People on sports teams will often work harder and work at it, go to practice and drill so they can get that trophy. There is an extrinsic reward. The intrinsic reward, you can say, is your purpose. What's your purpose for doing something? Often it's a higher purpose, something intrinsic. I want to help the community. It's for the community. It's for the family. It's for my wife and kids. Whatever the reason is, it's something other than yourself. And that purpose drives you to take action. You know, why do you wake up every day? And I don't mean to go to the bathroom and brush your teeth or because the alarm clock goes off. Why do you wake up? Why do you go to work? Why do you do the things you do? There is something motivating you. And then if you relied upon that reason or even that purpose, then why is it your motivation wanes? You know, I've been working out for many years. I think dedicated working out since, say, 2007. And no matter what, I go to the gym. And I often ask myself, why am I going to the gym? I originally started working out because I was taking judo. Actually, I was taking an exercise physiology class. I'll backtrack back to 2006, roughly, 2005. I was taking an exercise physiology class to get for my prerequisites for my chiropractor. It's applying to chiropractor school. I have a degree in psychology. I needed to go back and get the science classes out of the way. In the exercise physiology class, Professor Eiton is the teacher. He's teaching us all the things we need to know, and we're going over what's called a distress test. He puts us on, we didn't have a treadmill, so he made us all go on this exercise bike, and then we looked at our heart rate, or beats per minute, right afterwards. So we pedaled. I'm on the machine, on the exercise machine, pedaling as hard as I can for a full minute. And then as soon as I'm done, my classmate takes my pulse rate, looks at her watch, and measures my pulse rate. My pulse rate goes up to 270 beats per minute. I tell Professor Eiton, look, he asked me, what's your pulse rate? 270 beats per minute. It can't be. That's really high. That's like, do it again. So I do it again. I'm on the bike pedaling as hard as I can. Minute goes by. My classmate then takes my pulse, looks at her watch, counts the same thing. Maybe it was 265 beats per minute the next time. And he said to me, Spencer, you could have a heart condition. You need to go get a stress test. This isn't an actual stress test. We don't have the proper equipment here, but I'm just showing you what it's like to have it. You need to get a real stress test. Go to your doctor. So I went to my doctor, got a stress test, he hooked up an EKG machine, and then I went on the treadmill. He angled it a little bit, and I ran on it and for about a minute. And he looked at my EKG readings, first at rest, and then while I was on the treadmill. Then he also did my lung capacity, the volume of air, the basically capacity, and that comprised a stress test. And he said to me, I forgot the doctor's name. He said to me, "You're healthy. Why did you request this?" And I told him what I experienced in the class, or the exercise physiology class. He said, "Okay, that's good reason. But your lung capacity is really good. You don't have any problems. Their heart rate didn't go up to 270 beats per minute this time. It elevated the right amount. You're healthy." I said, "Oh, well, why would it go up that high?" He goes, "I don't know." That in itself, because my experience in class, even though I was healthy by my doctor's EKG, the actual stress test, it still made me think. It still made me think I need to exercise. That's what got me into exercising. And that's what motivated me, because I didn't want to get a heart attack. I didn't want to have a heart condition. I realized I didn't feel good physically wise. And that started my exercise journey. And I began weight training in 2007 when I started chiropractor school. I've been working out ever since, 3 days a week. I once worked out 5 days a week. Now, why did I do this? How did I do this? How am I able, disciplined, even working 50, 60 hours a week and still making it to the gym? How do I do this? What keeps me going? What drives me? Is when I was taking judo, my judo instructor, Sensei Damian Ross, he said, "Spencer, whatever anybody tells you in judo and in street fighting, size and strength and power rules." He's like, no. All that stuff about technique and on the street. Yeah, in a ring, yeah, technique matters. But on the street, size and strength rules. You never start a fight. If someone bigger than you starts a fight, just run. They're going to win. All they got to do is get a hold of you and throw you against the wall, or pick you up and slam you on the ground, or shove you, against the wall so hard that you break yourself. And it made me realize from the sparring that we were doing, I thought I was in shape from riding my bike, from the exercise physiology class I got into cycling, worked on my cardio. I thought I was in decent shape, was able to ride 14 miles. I thought I was happy with myself until I took judo. And doing all the calisthenic training, that was a grind. And I got really into it. I loved it. I love the intensity of it. I love the breathing, the heavy breathing, the increased heart rate, the sweating. Call me crazy. I enjoy that stuff. And when I went into chiropractor school, I kept thinking to myself, I'd play that mantra, size and strength matters, because I'd gotten jumped in New York City at a club. And I said, I'm never going to let myself, it's never going to happen to me again. And whatever technique I learned, taking Ryu Jiu-Jitsu and Judo, and then I started taking Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Long story short, it was that getting jumped, and then what my sensei Ross, my judo instructor, said to me, size and strength rules. So I began working out. And then I just felt better. I felt good to be strong. I felt good to be able. And that's what motivated me. I go to the gym every day, 3 days a week, and then do cardio on the fourth day. I still stick to that regimen since 2007. Now, why do I do that? Because I'll work out even though I don't feel like it. Even though it's the end of a long day and I'm tired, I still work out. Because when I go to the gym, after I start working out, I feel good. I feel great. I feel elated. I feel energized. I'm happy. And it's like an antidepressant, anti-anxiety, anti-stressor all rolled into one. It keeps me focused. There's a strong sense of self-discipline in the gym. And I began to wonder, yeah, why, like, even if I don't feel like it, I still work out. Something's driving me. My desire for health. I want to be healthy. I don't want to be a fat old man who is unable to do things. So that's what motivates me. That's what's been motivating me. Now, even when I didn't feel like it, even when I knew, look, I'm not going to get into any fights. Nobody's starting fights anymore. I started taking Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I knew, and there you learn technique actually does conquer strength, but on the street, there's no rules. It's different. I began to develop more confidence in my ability. So why was I still working out? For my health, because it made me feel good. Even when I didn't feel good, it made me feel good. So at first I guess it was all intrinsic. It was all about my own health, my own sense of well-being. But also, it's a great way to just de-stress. It made me feel good. I just wanted to feel good. And I want to stay active. So whatever the motivation is for you, because even chiropractor school, I never worked so hard in my life. Studying. We had a 4,000 question national board exam. God, the grind for that. Why am I putting myself through this? It was such a headache, but I still did it. All the students did it. I'm not saying I'm special. All the students did it. We all did it. We all put ourselves through the grind because we had hopes in a brighter future. We had the belief that we can succeed. We can help people heal. We can benefit our world and be rewarded for it. We can live a good life. No, that's the extrinsic motivation. Being financially well off, and the intrinsic of the reward of helping people. There's no greater reward than helping somebody and seeing the positive impact you make on someone's life as a result of your effort and your skills. It's very rewarding. It's more rewarding than money. That's what motivates me, is that intrinsic motivation. But I will admit there are days that I don't feel like coming into the office. So what drives me? My commitment. And here's where I'm going with this. Motivation, or the reason for doing something, even purpose, will wane. Your moods will change, which is why you cannot rely upon feeling ready, upon feeling inspired, upon feeling fired up, about or having the desire. What goes beyond motivation for any reason of motivation is commitment. Commitment. Once you get committed, nothing can stop you. There are days that you're going to have where you feel like giving up. Maybe you don't feel like giving up. Maybe you feel like you deserve a break. And if you take that break, it will put you behind. If you have a long-term goal, building a business, working towards a higher paying position, building a deck in your backyard, whatever the goal that you have set out for yourself, getting married by a certain age, the commitment to that goal will carry you through to the end. The commitment to that goal will carry you through to the end. It's more powerful than motivation. Because you're not doing it for a feeling. You're not doing it for a sentiment. You're not doing it for an external reward, which ultimately produces a feeling. If you're only doing something to feel good, you won't do it when you feel bad. And that's the key. Knowing that, to fulfill a goal, to accomplish a goal, will not always feel good. Now, when I opened my own practice, I felt wonderful for the first 2 years until I started to burn out, until I started to get tired in these long hours. If you're an entrepreneur, you know what I mean. So what kept me going wasn't the reward, the financial reward, the good living that I was experiencing, the opportunity, the freedom that I had, which was all great. Those were all bonuses. What kept me going was my commitment to my patients, my commitment to my vision, to help people get healthy naturally without drugs and medicine. That commitment kept me going. My commitment to making these videos, to impacting the minds by giving you knowledge to expand your awareness. And when you become more aware, you have choices. And when you have choices, you feel empowered. Knowledge brings understanding. Understanding leads to wisdom. And wisdom is clarity, is freedom. It's the purpose of making these videos. There are days I don't feel like making these videos, but I still do because my commitment to expanding the consciousness of my viewers, to bring awareness of the dynamics of your mind so you can guide yourself, so you can get empowered by understanding your mindset and how your mindset works. Motivation, everyone who relies upon, I'm going to wait till I feel inspired. I'm not inspired. I'm not going to do it. I'm going to wait for that feeling. I'm going to wait for the right moment. I'm going to wait till I'm ready. I'm going to wait till I feel ready. You'll never feel ready. Certainty never comes when you try something new. Those of you that have understand this. I learned this in skateboarding and snowboarding. Whenever I tried a new trick, there was always a feeling of uncertainty, which is what made it exciting. It made it like an adventure. I loved it. In my older age, I don't go for those spontaneous experiences anymore because the risk, if it outweighs the reward, I just don't do it. I have more to lose. I'm older and wiser. I'm not a young man anymore, so I don't do those outrageous athletic things that I used to do. As rewarding as it was a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun snowboarding. But there are days that it wasn't fun, and it felt like just training, just making myself do something for some reason. I mean, that's what training is. When you train, you don't do it because for the pleasure. You don't do it there's no extrinsic reward. No one's going to pat you on your back. There's no trophy. There's no title that you win at the end. You train to constantly improve your skills and keep your skills sharpened. Those of you who've done martial arts or any kind of sports understand this. You go to class sometimes, you don't feel like training. But once you do, something takes over. Something takes over where in the end you tell yourself or you feel as if it was all worth it because you experience improvement. Improvement is often a strong motivating factor next to fear. When you're able to improve your skills and apply them and get results that you want, it's very rewarding. There's a dopamine response that you just feel pleasure and reward at the same time. But if that's all you're going for, there are days when I trained in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, I didn't feel I got beat. I tapped every single time. It was really demoralizing. And what I told myself is I'm not here to win. It's not an ego trip. I'm here to train. I'm here to learn. What did I learn from losing? I went back to the next class. I realized I got to work on my defense. There is always room for improvement in skills. And when you go to train, when you go take any action towards your goal, when you begin to take the action steps that lead you to your goal, you do it because you're committed. And you're going to experience good days and bad days. You're going to have rewarding days and you're going to have punishing days. And that's the nature of the beast. I haven't run a marathon, but I've known a few marathon runners, and they described what it's like. It is like when I trained in jiu-jitsu and everybody was training for competition, the training level went up, and they pushed us to our max, to wanting to give up, but we kept going. You push your physical fitness. A lot of high-level people become marathon runners, not for the sake of physical fitness, but for the mindset, the grit, the no-quitting attitude. It's not fun to run a marathon. It's work. Same thing in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. It's work. You train, you work, you go to the gym. When I go to the gym, it is work. But out of that work, dopamine is produced. Serotonin is produced. Endorphins are produced. It feels good. That keeps me going. But that's a byproduct of my commitment to my health and well-being. Try that in your own life. Instead of focusing on, well, I want to feel good, or I want a reward, I want a higher pay, extrinsic or intrinsic, I found my purpose and it makes me feel good. It feels fulfilling. It's a feeling, because when you don't have that feeling, you're going to quit. Try commitment. Just every day commit. And what you're going to do is start to create consistent actions. In other words, you're going to start to create constructive habits that you just do. Like we wake up and brush our teeth, we don't think about it. It's not something we do whether we like it or not. We just do it because we don't want our teeth to rot. There's no pleasure in it. There's no punishment in it. It's just something we do. It's a positive habit. When you start taking consistent actions that lead you to the results that you want, you create habits out of them and you change. In other words, it becomes a lifestyle. Those things you used to do, like wake up late, you don't do anymore. And when you start taking consistent action, it changes your character. You have more self-control. When you talk to people, they will notice a difference. There's a certain look in your eyes. There's a certain way of being, a confidence, a conviction that you carry, a resolution. Because once you start to see the benefits of sticking to your commitment, you begin to see results. And the more committed you are, it doesn't matter what mistakes you make, you learn from them. And you keep going because you're committed. Commitment is the key to succeeding and fulfilling goals, not motivation. Motivation has been most misunderstood. As we all talk about motivational speaking, getting motivated to do something, getting motivated to stop smoking, getting motivated to get on a diet, getting motivated. You just pick something for the sake of picking it. There's usually certain personal expectation, something you want to create for yourself. But you just take the actions to getting there for the sake of taking the actions to getting there, and no other reason. You don't need a grand finale story around it. You just do it for the sake of doing it. And it's very simple. It simplifies everything. It takes the complexities out. What if I do this and that's going to happen? If I do this and that's going to happen? Well, I need to do this in order for that to happen. It takes that whole mental dialogue out. I'm doing it because I said I will, for no other reason. And that's the way to fulfilling your goals. So if you have challenges in completion of tasks, if you've started something in your life and you're the type of person who procrastinates and doesn't finish anything they do, then leave a comment below because I can help you with this. What is that going to happen for you? I mean, if you never finish what you start, what's that going to do for your job? Are people going to want to rely upon you? Is your boss going to look at you as a reliable, consistent, dependable, trustworthy person? They're not, and it's going to keep you from getting the raise you want. It's going to keep you from advancing in your career. It's going to keep you from getting the house of your dreams. It's going to keep you from living the life you truly want, a life that matters. Go ahead and leave a comment below. My contact information will also be below this video. This is Dr. Spencer Coaches. I sure hope that helps. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you so much for listening.